The night the Alpha King came for his bride, Elena Vale watched her younger sister fall to her knees. Outside the manor, snow battered the windows. Inside, every candle in the great hall seemed to flicker beneath the weight of the silence. Then the enormous doors opened.
Once, twice.
And finally, with a deep wooden groan, they swung inward. The wolves had arrived. Elena's fingers tightened around Clara's trembling hand. "Don't look at them," she whispered. Clara swallowed. "I can't." "You can. They're going to take me." Elena turned toward her sister. "Listen to me." Clara's eyes filled with tears. "I'll find a way." "You always say that." "Because I always do." Before Clara could answer, the sound of boots approaching across the stone floor silenced them. The man at the center of the pack entered. Adrian Blackthorn, the Alpha King. He wore a long black coat trimmed with dark wolf fur. A silver sword rested against his hip. A scar ran from the edge of his jaw toward his ear. But none of those things frightened Elena as much as his eyes. Gold. Cold. Unmistakably predatory. The villagers had called him cruel. They said he had killed men who challenged his authority. They said he could smell fear. They said his wolf had once torn an entire raiding party apart before dawn. Elena had never known which stories were true. She knew only one thing. Tonight, he had come for her sister. A councilman stepped forward. "Your Majesty, according to the treaty, we present Clara Vale." Clara took one terrified step, then stopped. Adrian looked at her. He said nothing. The silence became unbearable. Elena saw Clara's knees weaken, and something inside her broke.
No.
Every head turned. Her father stared at her. She released Clara's hand, then stepped forward. "I'll go." The hall froze. Adrian slowly lifted his eyes to her. Elena forced herself not to look away. "I said I'll go in her place." Her father whispered her name again, but Adrian was already walking toward her. One step, then another. He stopped directly in front of Elena. She could feel the warmth of his body despite the cold air. She lifted her chin. "I'll marry you." His eyes moved over her face. And then something happened that Elena would remember for the rest of her life. The cold expression disappeared. For a fraction of a second, the Alpha King looked almost relieved. Almost. He leaned closer. His voice was barely audible. "I chose you." Elena's heart stopped. Then he whispered, "Not her." Elena couldn't breathe. "What did you say?" Adrian straightened. His expression returned to stone. "I said the marriage will proceed." "You said something else." His golden eyes met hers. "You heard incorrectly." "I didn't." "Then perhaps you should learn not to question your alpha." Elena felt anger rise inside her. "I am not one of your wolves." A few guards exchanged uneasy looks. Adrian's mouth moved slightly. Not a smile. Something more dangerous. "No," he said quietly. "You aren't." Then he turned away. That should have been the end of it. But Elena could not stop thinking about those 4 words. "I chose you." Why would he say that? How could he have chosen her? He had supposedly come for Clara. The treaty named Clara. The council had prepared Clara. Everyone had expected Clara. Everyone except Adrian. As the servants hurried around preparing the carriage, Elena noticed something else. Her father wouldn't look at her. "Father?" He remained silent. "Why did he know my name?" "I don't know." "You looked frightened when he chose me."
"I'm tired."
"Father." He finally looked at her, and Elena saw something she had never seen in his eyes before.
Fear.
Not fear of Adrian. Fear of the truth. That night, Elena would leave her childhood home. But she would not leave without discovering why the Alpha King had looked at her as though he had been waiting. And somewhere deep inside Blackthorn Castle, a secret had already begun to wake. Before Elena became the Alpha King's bride, She had been the woman who kept the Vale family alive. She had learned early that life did not reward the person who complained the loudest. It rewarded the person who endured. After her mother died, Elena became responsible for Clara. She was only 16.
Clara was 10.
Their father never recovered completely. He spent long hours in his study, staring at accounts that never balanced and letters from creditors that never stopped arriving. So, Elena learned everything. She learned which merchants could be trusted, which roads became dangerous after snowfall, which servants needed kindness, which ones needed firm boundaries. She learned to sew wounds. She learned to repair broken harnesses. She learned how to ride. And she learned something even more important: how to hide fear. But Clara was different. She still believed the world contained kindness. One afternoon, months before the Alpha came, Clara found Elena repairing an old coat. "You're doing it again." Elena looked up. "Doing what?" "Fixing something that should probably be thrown away."
Elena smiled.
"That's because throwing things away is expensive." Clara sat beside her. "You should think about yourself sometimes."
I do.
"No, you think about everyone else and call it thinking about yourself."
Elena laughed softly.
"You sound like Mother." Clara's smile disappeared.
I miss her.
"So do I." "What do you remember most?" Elena stopped sewing. Her hands. She always smelled like lavender. Clara smiled. "She used to braid my hair. Badly."
They both laughed.
For a moment, they were children again. Then the laughter faded. Clara looked toward the window. "Do you think she knew what was coming?"
Elena frowned.
"What do you mean?" "Nothing." But that evening, Elena found her sister standing near the northern forest, watching, waiting, as if she expected someone to appear between the trees. Elena walked toward her. "Clara?" Her sister turned quickly. "What were you doing?" "Nothing." Elena looked toward the forest. The trees were dark beneath the setting sun. Then she noticed something. A pair of golden eyes, far between the trees, watching them.
Elena blinked.
They were gone. She told herself it had been a deer. She would later realize it wasn't. 3 weeks before Adrian arrived, Lord Marcus Vane visited the Vale estate. He was a wealthy nobleman, elegant, polite, and completely untrustworthy. He entered the house carrying a walking cane topped with silver. "Lord Vane." Elena's father greeted him. Marcus smiled. "William." Elena stood in the doorway. She didn't like the man. She couldn't explain why. Marcus looked at her. "So, this is Elena." "Yes." "Your mother had the same eyes."
Elena stiffened.
"You knew my mother?" Marcus's smile disappeared for half a second. "Everyone knew your mother." That answer bothered her. Later that evening, Elena confronted her father. "What did Lord Vane want?" "Nothing." "Father." "He's here about the debt." "What debt?" Her father went silent. Elena stared at him. "How much?" He finally answered. "Enough." Her stomach dropped. "How much?" "More than the estate is worth." Clara overheard them. "Does that mean we're losing our home?" Elena turned.
No.
Her father looked away. Marcus had already offered a solution. The treaty. The Alpha King's bride. If Clara married Adrian, the family's debt would be forgiven. The estate would remain. The villages would remain protected. And the Vale name would survive. Elena immediately refused. "She is not going." Her father looked at her helplessly. "We don't have a choice." "There is always a choice." "Not when the Alpha King demands tribute." Then Marcus spoke from behind them. "Perhaps your daughter should understand something." Elena turned. He smiled. "The world doesn't care how brave you are." She stepped closer. "Then perhaps the world should learn." Marcus's eyes hardened. "You will regret those words." Elena didn't know how much he meant them. That night, Elena couldn't sleep. She went into her mother's old room. Dust covered the furniture. The curtains had faded. The room smelled faintly of dried lavender. She opened an old wooden chest. Inside were letters, jewelry, a dried flower, and a silver pendant. Elena picked it up. On the back was the symbol of a black wolf beneath a crescent moon. Blackthorn. Her fingers went cold. Why did her mother have the Alpha King symbol? She searched deeper. Then she found a folded letter. Her mother's handwriting. Elena unfolded it. The first line made her heart pound. If the Blackthorn Alpha ever comes for one of my daughters, do not trust the reason they give you. Elena read the sentence twice. Then a second line. He may not come for the daughter they name. She looked toward the door. Someone was standing outside. Father? No answer. Elena opened the door. The corridor was empty. But at the far end of the hallway, one candle had gone out. Someone had been there. And someone had heard her reading the letter. The next morning, the wolves came. The villagers watched from behind locked doors. The great gates opened. Black horses entered the courtyard. Adrian dismounted.
Elena stodbe si declara.
Her sister was shaking. Don't worry, Elena whispered. I am worried about you. You shouldn't be. You don't know what he'll do. Elena looked at Adrian. Neither does he. The Alpha approached. A councilman stepped forward. Your Majesty. According to the treaty, Clara Vale is presented as your bride. Adrian looked at Clara, then at Elena, then the silver pendant around Elena's neck. His eyes narrowed. Where did you get that? Elena instinctively touched it. It belonged to my mother. Adrian went completely still. What was her name?
Isabella Vale.
A murmur moved through the wolves. Adrian looked away. For the first time, Elena saw genuine emotion on his face.
Pain.
Then it disappeared. I will not take Clara.
Clara gasped.
Adrian looked at Elena. I will take Elena. Her father stepped forward. That's impossible. Adrian's voice hardened. Is it? The treaty names Clara. The treaty requires a daughter of the Vale bloodline. Elena stared at him. You planned this. Adrian looked at her. I planned nothing. Then why me? His answer was quiet. Because you were always the one I wanted. The words shook her. But before she could respond, Adrian turned toward the council. Prepare the ceremony. Elena left home before sunset. Clara cried until the carriage disappeared. Elena sat beside the window. Adrian rode ahead. She hated him. She feared him. And yet she couldn't stop wondering about him. Hours passed. The road became narrower. Snow began falling. Elena's fingers grew numb. Suddenly Adrian rode back. He removed his cloak. Take this. I don't need it. You are freezing. I can manage. That wasn't a question.
Elena glared.
He placed the cloak around her shoulders. Their hands touched. A strange sensation moved through her. Adrian pulled back immediately. His expression changed. You felt that.
Elena nodded.
What was it? He didn't answer. Adrian. Not here. Then where? Somewhere safe. She looked toward the dark forest. What are you afraid of? He looked at her. You.
She almost laughed.
Me? Yes. You're the Alpha King. I know. Then why would you be afraid of me? Adrian turned his horse away. Because you are the only person in years who has made me question whether I still deserve the crown. Elena stared after him. For the first time, she wondered whether the cruel Alpha was hiding something broken beneath all that power. Blackthorn Castle appeared through the snowfall. It rose from the mountain like a fortress carved from the night itself. Thousands of torches burned along its walls. Wolves guarded every entrance. Yet when Elena entered, she noticed something strange. Children were playing in the courtyard. Women were carrying baskets of food. Old men sat beside fires. The kingdom wasn't what she'd expected. The wolves weren't mindless beasts. They were a society, a harsh one, but organized.
Alive.
Adrian noticed her looking. You expected monsters. I was told you were monsters. And now?
I'm undecided.
He almost smiled. The ceremony began that night. There were no elaborate decorations.
No musicians.
Only fire.
Snow.
And the pack. Adrian took Elena's hand. His fingers were warm. An elder cut each of their palms. When their blood touched, Elena felt a sudden burst of warmth. Her vision blurred. For a fraction of a second, she saw a forest. A black wolf. A young woman. Her mother. Then the vision disappeared.
Elena gasped.
Adrian's eyes widened. You saw it. What was that? We'll talk later. You're not going to keep secrets from me. He looked at her. I already have. The howls began. The marriage was complete. Elena Vale was now the queen of Blackthorn. The doors closed behind them. Elena stood alone in Adrian's chamber. She expected him to approach. Instead, he walked to the fireplace. You can sleep there. He pointed toward a smaller room adjoining the chamber. Elena stared at him. You're not going to?
No.
She blinked.
No.
I won't touch you without your permission. She didn't know what to say. Why? Because you're afraid. I am. I know. He removed his sword. Fear isn't consent. Elena stared at him. The Alpha King looked almost ordinary in the firelight. Tired.
Human.
Vulnerable. She sat. Why did you choose me? Adrian remained silent. Tell me. I can't. You can. He looked at her. Not yet. Then when you're ready to hear it. Elena became angry. You don't get to decide when I'm ready. Something changed in his expression. You're right. It was the first time he had admitted she was right. He walked toward her, then stopped. I owe you the truth. Yes. But if I tell you everything tonight, you may hate me. Elena looked at him. I already hate you. His eyes softened. Then perhaps you have nothing left to lose. The next morning, Elena entered the great hall. Conversation stopped. Dozens of wolves looked at her. Some curious, some hostile. One woman in particular stared at Elena with open contempt. Lady Catherine, an elder of the pack. She smiled. So this is the human.
Elena sat.
Apparently, Catherine's eyes narrowed. Humans rarely survive our winters. Elena picked up her cup. Then perhaps you should make better tea. Silence. Someone coughed to hide a laugh. Adrian looked down at his plate. But Elena noticed. He was smiling.
Barely.
Catherine was furious. This isn't a game.
No.
Elena looked at her. It isn't. Adrian finally spoke. Lady Catherine. She lowered her eyes. My alpha. Queen Elena speaks for herself. That sentence shocked the room. The Alpha King had publicly defended her. But later, Elena discovered something else. Someone had searched her chambers. Her mother's letter was gone. Elena immediately confronted Adrian. Who entered my room? No one without my permission. My letter disappeared. His expression hardened. What letter? The one from my mother. Adrian stared at her, then said, Show me where you kept it.
She did.
The empty compartment was hidden beneath the floorboard. Adrian knelt. He examined it. Someone had entered. Recently.
His jaw tightened.
This isn't about the marriage. What is it about? He looked at her. Your mother. That afternoon, Adrian took Elena into his private study. The walls were covered with maps and paintings. He stopped before one portrait.
Elena froze.
Her mother.
Young.
Beautiful. Standing beside a black wolf. Elena touched the painting. You knew her. Yes. When? Before I became Alpha. What happened? Adrian's voice became quieter. I was hunted. By whom? People inside my own pack. He told her about the night Isabella Vale found him wounded in the forest. She had treated him, fed him, hidden him, and before he left, she had told him, power doesn't make you a king. What you do with it does.
Elena wipe da ter.
She never told me. She wanted you protected. Protected from what? Adrian looked at her. Me. Elena stepped back. Why? Because she knew what I would eventually become. Did she hate you?
No.
Then why? Adrian looked toward the painting. Because she knew that loving someone with power can become dangerous. Elena's chest tightened. Is that what you think this is? Adrian didn't answer. That silence frightened her more than any confession. That evening, the castle bells rang.
Once. Twice.
Then continuously. Wolves rushed through the corridors. Adrian grabbed his sword. Stay here. I'm coming.
No.
I am your queen. You're my wife. And his eyes flashed. And I won't lose you. She froze. He walked away before she could answer. Outside, flames rose beyond the walls. An army had attacked. Adrian transformed. The creature that emerged was enormous. Black fur, golden eyes, powerful claws. Elena had seen wolves before. She had never seen one like him. His roar shook the castle. The attacking wolves hesitated. Then their leader stepped forward. Marcus Fane. Elena recognized him. Marcus. He smiled. Adrian's wolf growled. Marcus looked toward Elena. You still don't know, do you? Know what? The reason you became his bride. He laughed. Your sister was never important. Elena's blood ran cold. You were the target. Marcus revealed everything.
The debt.
The treaty. The nomination. All of it had been manipulated. He had pushed the Vale family toward financial ruin. He had arranged for Clara's name to appear in the treaty. He knew Elena would never allow her sister to go. And he knew Elena would volunteer. Why? Elena asked. Because your mother left something behind. What? Evidence. Marcus looked at Adrian. Your alpha has been hiding it from you. Elena turned toward Adrian. Is that true? Adrian said nothing. That was enough. Elena felt betrayed. Marcus smiled. Ask him what happened the night your mother disappeared. Adrian's expression changed. Elena looked at him. Tell me. Not here. Tell me now.
Now.
The room became silent. Adrian finally spoke. Your mother wasn't killed by wolves. Elena stopped breathing. She was killed by humans. Who? Adrian looked toward Marcus. His people. Marcus laughed. You see why I needed her? Elena finally understood. This wasn't only a marriage. It was a war that had started before she was born. Elena walked away from Adrian. He followed. Don't. I was trying to protect you. You lied. I withheld information. That's a lie with better manners.
He stopped. She turned.
You knew my mother. Yes. You knew I was being targeted. Yes. You manipulated the treaty. I stopped them from taking Clara. But you still took me. I never intended to hurt you. That doesn't mean you didn't. Adrian looked wounded. You think I don't know that? I think you don't understand what it means to have your choices taken away. That sentence silenced him. Elena walked toward the gates. Adrian didn't stop her. He could have. He was the Alpha King. Instead, he stood there and watched the woman he loved leave. Elena returned home. Clara embraced her. You came back. For now. Clara looked frightened. What happened? Adrian lied to me. Clara lowered her eyes. There is something else. Elena stared at her. What? Clara went to their mother's room. She returned with another envelope. I found this after you left. Elena opened it. Her mother's handwriting. My dearest Elena, if you are reading this, then the Blackthorn Alpha has finally found you. Elena's hands shook. You may believe he has taken your freedom, but remember this. There is a difference between someone choosing you and someone controlling you. Elena read on. Adrian Blackthorn once saved my life. I saved his. Neither of us owed the other a lifetime. Then came the final sentence. If he truly loves you, he will let you choose him freely. Elena closed her eyes. She understood. She had been asking the wrong question.
Not.
Did Adrian choose me?
But.
Would Adrian allow me to choose him? Before Elena could decide what to do, a messenger arrived. Blackthorn Castle had fallen. Marcus had taken control. Adrian was wounded. The council had turned against him. Clara grabbed Elena's hand. You have to go. Elena looked toward the northern mountains. She remembered Adrian's face, his voice, his restraint, the way he had let her leave. She understood something. He could have forced her to remain. He hadn't. That was the proof she needed. I have to go back. Why? Because this time I'm choosing. Elena entered the council chamber. Marcus turned. You came back.
No.
She walked toward the center. I came for the truth. Marcus laughed. You think you can stop me?
No.
She held up the silver pendant. I think the truth can. Marcus's face changed. Elena opened the hidden compartment. Inside was a small piece of parchment.
Names.
Payments. Orders.
Proof.
Marcus's allies began turning against him. Adrian appeared at the doorway. Blood covered his shirt. He could barely stand. Elena ran toward him, then stopped. She remembered her mother's warning. Choose. Not because you are afraid. Not because you owe him.
Choose.
Adrian looked at her. He didn't command her. He didn't ask her to stay.
He simply said,
I'm glad you're alive. Elena's eyes filled with tears. You're hurt. I've been worse. You're a terrible liar. He smiled. That may be the first thing you've ever said to me that I deserve. Marcus attacked. The final battle began. But it wasn't only Adrian who fought. Elena exposed the traitors. The loyal wolves surrounded Marcus. And when the battle ended, Adrian stood victorious. Marcus was defeated. The kingdom was free. But Elena knew one final choice remained. Later that night, Elena found Adrian on the balcony.
Snow fell softly.
You should be resting. So should you. She stood beside him. Why me? He looked at her. Do you really want the answer? Yes. I saw you when you were 12. She remembered. The forest. He nodded. You left bread for a wounded wolf. You were that wolf? Yes.
Elena smiled.
I thought you were going to eat me. I wanted the bread. She laughed. Then he became serious. I watched you grow. Why? Because your mother asked me to protect you. Elena looked at him. She knew. She knew danger would eventually come. Did you love me then?
No.
He paused. Not then. And now? He stepped closer. Now I don't know how to imagine my life without you. Elena's eyes filled with tears. You should have told me. I was afraid. Of you. She laughed softly. Why? Because you were the first person who could make me want something I had no right to demand. He touched her cheek.
You.
Elena closed her eyes. Do you still think you chose me? I know I did. He leaned closer. But this time I won't ask you to stay. She opened her eyes. And if I choose to? His voice became a whisper. Then I'll spend the rest of my life making sure you never regret it.
Elena smiled.
I choose you too. The kingdom changed after that night. The treaty was rewritten. The human villages were protected without forced marriages. Clara left for the Southern Academy. And Elena became more than Adrian's queen. She became his equal. She sat beside him during council meetings. She negotiated peace between humans and wolves. She rebuilt the villages damaged by years of conflict. And slowly, the people who had once feared her began to trust her. Years later, someone asked Elena what she remembered most about the night she married the cruel Alpha. She smiled. I remember believing I had no choice. And what changed? Elena looked toward Adrian. I learned that love means nothing if you aren't free to say no. She had once believed strength meant sacrificing herself. For her father, for her sister, for her family, for everyone. But she eventually learned something more important. You can love someone without destroying yourself for them. You can protect someone without surrendering your identity. And you can forgive someone without forgetting what they did. Adrian had chosen Elena, but the love that lasted was not built on his choice. It was built on hers. Every morning, she chose him again. And every morning, he gave her the freedom to do so. Because true love isn't a cage. It isn't fear. It isn't obligation. It is the freedom to walk away and the beautiful decision to stay. So, if you were Elena, would you have returned to Adrian after discovering the truth? Would you have forgiven him? Or would you have chosen a completely different life? Tell us what you would have done. And remember this: never confuse being needed with being valued. Sometimes the greatest act of courage isn't sacrificing yourself for someone else. Sometimes it's finally believing that you deserve to be chosen without having to lose yourself first. And if this story touched your heart, stay with us for more cinematic werewolf romances, alpha king stories, mysteries, betrayals, second chances, and unforgettable journeys where love is never as simple as it seems.